He fastened the door and walked across the hall and up the stairs slowly too, trimming his candle as he went. Darkness is cheap, and Scrooge liked it. But before he shut his heavy door, he walked through all his rooms to see that all was right. He had just enough recollection of the face to do that. Sitting room, bedroom, lumber room, nobody under the table, nobody under the sofa. A small fire in the grate, spoon and basin ready, and a little saucepan of gruel. Nobody under the bed, nobody in the closet, nobody in his dressing gown. Quite satisfied, he closed his door and locked himself in. Double locked himself in, which was not his custom. Thus secured against surprise, he took off his hat and coat, put on his dressing gown, and sat before the fire to take his gruel. As he threw his head back in the chair, his glance happened to rest upon a bell, a disused bell that hung in the room. It was with great astonishment and with a great, strange, inexplicable dread that as he looked, he saw the bell begin to swing. And so did every bell in the house. This might have lasted a minute or half a minute, but it seemed to last an hour. The bells ceased as they had begun. They were succeeded by a clanking noise deep down below, as if some person or persons was dragging a heavy chain over the casks in the wine merchant's cellar. Scrooge then had remembered to have heard that ghosts in haunted houses were described as dragging chains. The cellar door flew open with a booming sound, and then he heard the noise much louder on the floors below, then coming up the stairs, then coming straight towards his door.
It's humbug still. I won't believe it.
His colour changed, though, when without a pause in came on through the heavy door and passed into the room before his very eyes.
How now? What do you want with me?
Much.
Who are you?
Ask me who I was.
Who were you then? You're particular for a shade?
In life, I was your partner, Jacob Marley.
Can you sit down?
I can.
Do it then.
You don't believe in me.
I don't.
Why do you doubt your senses?
Because a slight disorder of the stomach makes them cheat. You might be an undigested bit of beef, a blot of mustard, a crumb of cheese, a fragment of an underdone potato. Yes, there's more of gravy than of grave about you, whatever you are. Humbug, I tell you. Humbug! Oh, mercy, 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 dreadful apparition. Why do you trouble me?
Man of worldly mind and body, do you believe in me or not?
I do, must, but why do spirits walk the earth, and why do they come to me?
It is required of every man that the spirit within him should walk abroad among his fellow man, and travel far and wide. And if that spirit goes not forth in life, it is condemned to do so after death. It is doomed to wander the world, oh, woe is me, and witness what it cannot share, but might have shared on earth, and turn to happiness.
You are in chains.
I wear the chains I forged in life. I made them link by link, and yard by yard. I girded on it of my own free will, and of my own free will I wore it. Is its pattern strange to you? Or would you know the weight and length and full strong coil you bear yourself? It was as full and as heavy and as long as this 7 Christmas Eves ago. You have labored on it since. It is a ponderous chain.
Oh, Jacob Marley, speak comfort to me, Jacob.
I have none to give. Oh, captive and bound not to know that no space of regret can make amends for one's life's opportunity misused. Yet such was I. Oh, such was I.
But you were always a good man of business, Jacob.
Business! And kind was my business. The common welfare was my business. Charity, mercy, forbearance, and benevolence were all my business. At this time of the rolling year I suffer most. Why did I walk through the crowds of fellow beings with my eyes turned down? Hear me, my time is nearly gone.
I will, Jacob, but don't be hard upon me, Jacob. Don't be flowery.
I am here tonight to warn you that you have yet a chance and hope of escaping my fate, Ebenezer.
You were always a good friend to me, thank you.
You'll be haunted by 3 spirits.
Is that the chance and hope you mentioned, Jacob?
It is.
I think I'd rather not.
Without their visits, you cannot hope to shun the path that I tread. Expect the first tomorrow when the bell tolls 1.
Couldn't I take them all at once and have it over with, Jacob?
Expect the second on the next night at the same hour. The third upon the next night when the last stroke of 12 has ceased to vibrate. Look to see me no more, and look that for your own sake, Jacob, you remember what has passed here between us.
The apparition walked backwards from him. At every step it took, the window raised itself a little, so that when the spectre reached it, it was wide open. It beckoned Scrooge to approach, which he did. When they were within 2 paces of each other, Marley's ghost held up its hand, warning him to come no nearer. Scrooge stopped. Not so much in obedience, but as in surprise and fear, for on the raising of his hand he became sensible of confused noises in the air, incoherent sounds of lamentations and regrets, wailings inexpressibly sorrowful and self-accusatory. The spectre, after listening for a moment, joined in the mournful dirge, and floated up upon the bleak, dark night. Scrooge closed the window and examined the door by which the ghost had entered. It was double-locked, as he had locked it with his own hands. And being from an emotion he had undergone much need of repose, went straight to bed. Chapter 2, the first of 3 spirits. When Scrooge awoke, it was so dark that looking out of his bed, he could scarcely distinguish the transparent window from the opaque walls of his chamber. He was endeavoring to pierce the darkness with his ferret eyes, when the chimes of a neighboring church struck the 4 quarters. So he listened for the hour.
12. It was past 2 when I went to bed. Why, it is impossible that I have slept through a whole day and far into another night.
Scrooge thought it over and over, and could make nothing of it. Scrooge lay in this state until he had remembered that the ghost had warned him of a visitation when the bell tolled 1. He resolved to lie awake until the hour was past. Ding-dong, 1/4 past. Ding-dong, 1/2 past. Ding-dong, 1/4 to it. Ding-dong.
The hour itself and nothing else.
Light flashed in the room upon the instant, and the curtains of his bed were drawn back, and Scrooge found himself face to face with an unearthly visitor who drew them near. It was a strange figure, like a child, yet not so much like a child as like an old man who had been diminished to a child's proportion. Its hair, which hung about its neck and down its back, was white, as if with age, and yet its face had not a wrinkle in it.
Are you, sir, the spirit whose coming was foretold to me?
I am.
Who and what are you?
I am the ghost of Christmas past.
Long past?
No, your past. Rise and walk with me. He rose, but finding that the spirit made towards the window.
I'm a mortal and liable to fall.
Bear but a touch of my hand there, and you shall be upheld in more than this. As the words were spoken, they passed through the wall and stood upon an open country road, with fields on either hand. It was clear, cold winter day, with snow upon the ground.
Good heaven! I was born in this place. I was a boy here.
Scrooge was conscious of 1,000 odors floating in the air, each one connected with 1,000 thoughts and hopes and joys and cares long, long forgotten. Your lip is trembling, and what is that upon your cheek?
Merely a pimple.
You recollect the way?
Remember it? I can walk it blindfold.
Strange to have forgotten it so many years. Let us go on. Some shaggy ponies now were seen trotting towards them, with boys upon their backs who were in great spirits, and shouted to each other until the broad fields were so full of merry music that the crisp air laughed to hear it. These are but shadows of the things that have been. They have no consciousness of us. As the travellers came on, Scrooge knew and named them every one. Why was he rejoiced beyond all bounds to see them? Why did his cold eye glisten and his heart leap up as they went past? Why was he filled with gladness when he heard them give each other Merry Christmas? What was Christmas time to Scrooge? Out upon a Merry Christmas, what good had it ever done him? The school is not quite deserted. A solitary child, neglected by his friends, is left there still.
I know, Spirit.
I know.
I wish. It's too late now.
What's the matter?
Nothing. There was a boy singing a Christmas carol at my door last night. I should like to have given him something, that's all.
Let us see another Christmas. Scrooge's former self grew large at the words, and the room became a little darker and more dirty. He was alone again when all the other boys had gone home for the jolly holidays. Scrooge looked at the ghost with a mournful shaking of his head, glanced anxiously towards the door. It opened up, and a little girl, much younger than the boy, came darting in, and putting her arms around his neck and offering him kisses, addressing him as, "My dear brother, I have come to bring you home, dear brother, come to bring you home, home, home." "Home, little Fan?" "Yes, home for good and all. Oh, home for ever and ever. Father was so much kinder than he used to be, and home is like heaven. He spoke to me so gently one night that I wasn't afraid to ask him once more if you might come home, and he said yes, you should, and he sent me in a coach to bring you. We're to be together all Christmas long and have the most merriest time in the whole world." "You're quite a woman, little Fan."